Hi guys, I'm Rebecca and this is Zenith Workouts. We are doing a very quick session on all fours today. I should say all fours, doesn't necessarily mean hands and knees, could be elbows and knees, right? But we're going to be working on the organization and the strength of our shoulders. So if you have an acute shoulder injury, this might not be the video for you. But if you feel like this is maybe chronically a little bit of a weak area, then do what you can with good form and we'll see if you can improve and get that strength. Weight bearing through the hands or through the arms, whether your hands or elbows, is a really nice way to try to stimulate bone growth and bone density. So if you do have some osteoporosis or osteopenia, the weight bearing exercises through the arms are really nice. And I mean, even if you don't have either of those conditions, it's still a really good way to maintain bone mass as well as muscle mass and shoulder happiness. So we're going to start on hands and knees, and we're just going to do a little rocking with a neutral spine. So here you can pick based on, whether you're brand new to this or a little bit of an old salt. You can start by getting the hands under the shoulders and the knees under the hips, and then at least take one step forward with the hands. Because to rock, you need some space. You're going to be rocking forward with a neutral spine to come over the hands, and you're going to be rocking back with a neutral spine to put more weight in the hips. So this could be a small movement like this, where on your exhale, you're drawing in with the deep belly, you're lifting the pelvic floor, you're keeping that head in line with the rest of the spine, and you're bringing the shoulders over the hands. Not beyond the hands, but just over. And then rocking back, right? Or if you're feeling like, oh, that doesn't really feel like a lot, and you feel strong in that upper body, you can take a bigger step forward, right? And even slide back with the knees so that you come into a modified plank position. The shoulders, the hips, and the knees are all in the same line. And you rock back. You have to rock back further, and you have to have more flexion or folding at the hip. When you come forward, you have to have a lot more strength in the upper body. So you choose how big, I guess, of a rock you make. But this is our warm-up, just to warm up those shoulders and hips. Rocking back with a neutral spine and rocking forward, drawing in with the belly, pressing the chest away from the mat, keeping the shoulders down away from the ears. If you find it's a little hard on your wrist just to weight bear, try to spread the fingers and reach the thumbs out to the sides. So you've got a bigger area to bear weight through. And also if you press into the pads of the fingers, sometimes that will give you a little bit of strength in your finger flexors, and that will help at the wrists. Perfect. We're going to make this one our last one. Nice breath in. Nice breath out to rock forward. Perfect. And then you can rock back. You can give yourself a little rest position or a little roll of the wrists if you need a break. And then you're going to come back to all fours, this time with the hands right under the wrists right under the shoulders, the knees right under the hips. And this one's subtle and it's hard, but it's good for us. So I'd like you to straighten your elbows. If you hyperextend your elbows, don't hyperextend them. Just have them fully straight. And collapse just for a moment into your bad shoulder position, where your spine is sagged down between your shoulder blades, and then you're going to say, no. You press the chest away from the mat. Slide the shoulders away from the ears. Have that head and neck nice and long. And we're going to try 6, where we bend the elbows, but we don't let the chest drop towards the mat. So it's this little tiny unlocking of the elbows. The shoulders have to adjust slightly, and then you straighten them back out. Most of the times as we bend the elbows, the chest starts to lower right away or even collapses, and that's what we're looking to avoid. So on your out breath, bend the elbows and straighten them again. And it's a little movement, right? Like in the video, I don't even know if you can see me moving those elbows so subtly. But your chest doesn't drop towards the mat, not 1 millimeter, right? The spine stays at the same height from the floor. Good, try a couple more. Good. And you should feel that a little bit, eh? Oh yes, good. And rock it back just again for a little bit of a break. Roll the wrists a bit. Good. And we're going to do one more on hands and knees before we give our wrists a break and come to elbows. We're going to be doing opposite arm and opposite leg. And again, if you're really new to this, you can do just the leg. Your focus is that the tummy button stays over a spot directly below itself on the mat. Like if it had a little shadow there, it wouldn't, no shift side to side, and also no arch or round of the back, right? You could balance. A nice self-test is to put something round on your back. The mini ball is, sort of big and light. It will probably fall off. But if you had like a grapefruit or an orange or a toning ball at home, you could put that on the low back. So nice breath in to prepare. Start with just the leg anyway, even if you are an old salt. We'll move back a bit. And on your exhale, slide that right leg back behind you. Nothing else moves. Feel that you use the bum muscle, the glute muscle, to lift that leg while you keep the pelvis level. And if you can add in the opposite arm, great. Don't add in the opposite arm if you feel the leg is a super challenge. Release it down and switch. Leg reaches back. Draw in with the abdominals as you lift the leg to keep that pelvis level and that low back still, and then float the arm up in front. Release and release. So many things to think of here. So if just focusing on drawing in the low belly to keep that low back still is enough, then focus on that. But if you're also able to be aware of the upper body, then try to keep that whole chest and breastbone pressed away from the mat, like a big distance here, right? As you raise the opposite arm and as you return it. Because often what happens is as we're getting a little tired or we're repeating this, we slowly get lower to the mat with our chest, or we look at our knees. So really try to keep a nice distance from your throat to the mat, that little chin tuck happening from the breastbone to the mat. Good. We're going to do one more, just singles. Beautiful. And then we're going to do a little windmill. So right leg back. Good. And left arm forward, or just the right leg back. I want you to let the leg drift out to the side, but stay at the same height. Bring it back in, and then tap the toes and the fingers if you're doing the arm on the floor, pick it back up. So a little windmill, center it, tap, lift, windmill, center, tap. Keep the chest pressed away from the mat. The tummy button centered over a spot below it on the mat. The belly drawn in. The breath nice and even. Good. Make this one your last one. Perfect. Hold it when you come back to the center just for a minute and check your form. Pelvis level, shoulders strong, and release it down. And switch sides. So left leg drifts back. Arm reaches forward. Lift them both. Or just the leg. Always an option to do just the leg. Then a little windmill. Leg reaches out to the side. Arm reaches out to the side. They stay at the same height though. They don't get lower as they reach to the side. Then they lower and tap when they're back to the center. So lift, windmill, center, tap. Lift, windmill, center, tap. Lift, windmill, center, tap. Last one. Center it, hold, check your form. Nice breath, then release. Beautiful, good. Let's rock back just to give those wrists a beautiful break. And then if you prefer, coming down on the elbows puts a different strain. So if you prefer to stay on the wrists, you can. However, onto the elbows. And if you can have the elbows, you want them under the shoulders, but if you can have the forearms parallel, that's good. And that's a little bit of like some flexibility in the shoulders and a different shoulder strength. But if that's not possible, then place the hands together so you're almost in like a little triangle. And that'll give you a little bit of different stability. So parallel if possible, hands together if not. Knees, if they're too far underneath you, you're going to find that it's hard anyway. because you're going to be too crunchy. So get the knees back a little bit. Try to feel long through your waist. Press the chest away from the mat. Put your weight into the left leg. So just press into the left knee. And then the right knee is going to reach out to the side. And the pelvis is going to stay level. So you don't want this whole dog peeing on a fire hydrant. You want the knee to stay close to the mat, but reach out to the side. Bring it back in. And do it again. Out to the side and lower. And once again, your goal is the pelvis stays level and the tummy button stays centered. And this is hard. Well, hard just, in keeping the form, and you can probably feel it in the hip muscles. So 2 more like this. And perfect. Bring the right knee in, place it next to the left, and switch right away. Bring the left knee out to the side. So knee to the side and lower. And lower. As when we are on our hands and knees, try not to let the chest slowly, sneakily sink to the mat. Really keep that chest pressed away, the neck nice and long, the little chin tuck happening. Your gaze should just be down between the forearms somewhere. Good. Put the left knee down next to the right. This time the right knee, it's going to stay bent, but you're going to lift that whole leg, that whole bent leg, the thigh, up towards the ceiling. And lower it down, and then sneak it out to the side, and lower it down. So little combined movement here. Straight back, down, out to the side, and down. Straight back, down, out to the side, down. So you're getting a lot of work in the shoulders, I hope. You're getting a lot of work in the abdominals, and you're working that hip. I don't like to exercise and not get a lot of value from my time. Good. Hold this one with the leg back. Good. Draw in the belly. Press the chest away from the mat and see if you can lift that heel a tiny bit more towards the ceiling. For 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Lower it down. Reach it out to the side. And see if you can lift that knee without tipping the pelvis a little higher. For 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Gorgeous. You got it. Good. Take a little break if you need it, but let's do that same thing on the left. Flex the foot if that helps. Let the knee go straight behind you at first, or the whole leg, the bent leg. Behind, down, out to the side, down, back, down, out to the side, down. I find that this, being down on the elbows, sometimes lets people control their low back better because they're more bent at the hip, right? Your head is lower than your pelvis, generally, or lower than it is when you're on hands and knees. And sometimes if you're not comfortable in your back, your low back, as we're doing stuff on hands and knees, you could drop to the elbows, and that might help you be comfortable until you gain the strength to be comfortable in the low back when you're on hands and knees. Good. Having talked through all that, let's leave this one straight back. Draw in the belly, press the chest away from the mat, be strong there, pull the low ribs back, and then pulse the leg a little higher for 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Lower it down, reach it out to the side. You can do it. We're almost there. And lift the knee for 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Lower the knee and rock it back into a well-deserved shell stretch, child's pose. You can leave the hands overhead if that feels comfortable, or I really like to let the forehead melt into the mat, let the hands reach around by the sides, by the outer feet, and then just let the shoulders roll forward, the shoulder blades get nice and wide, where you just worked quite a bit in that area, eh? And just take a series of breaths where first you breathe into your lower neck, upper back. And then you breathe your next breath right between your shoulder blades. And then going even deeper, try to feel
Feel that air go right to the low rib cage. No wasted space in the lungs. And then into your low back, upper pelvis, and then finally connecting that breath all the way down to the tailbone. And feeling a response in the pelvic floor maybe as you do that. Beautiful, good. Bring the hands forward. If you do have any low bone density, I want you to find your neutral spine before you come up.
So you sort of reach forward, bring the head and neck in line with the rest of the spine, lift the hips a little bit. Use the hands to walk yourself up to be nice and straight rather than rolling up, because that places, when you're in gravity and bent forward, that places some stress on the spine that is not always well received if you do have some low bone density. So nice neutral spine to come up. Let's take the arms and just breathe them overhead. Hopefully they feel strong and fatigued. Breathe them down with intention. Let's do it again. One more breath. And out. Gorgeous. Little shake of the shoulders, rotation of the neck. Hopefully you feel good. So if you found that hard, then it's a nice short video to keep tuning into and see if you can make some improvements. Modify as you need, and I hope you enjoy it. So ciao, enjoy the day. I will see you next time. Bye for now.